Chapter 1. The Fall. Aiden sat on the park bench, staring at the cracked pavement beneath his feet. His hands trembled as he clutched the letter that had arrived earlier that day. "We regret to inform you that your application was not successful. It wasn't the first rejection, nor the second, it was the 10th. Aiden had spent years dreaming of becoming an architect. He worked tirelessly, studied late into the night, and poured his heart into every design. Yet, here he was again, being told he wasn't good enough. His shoulders slumped. The weight of failure pressed against his chest like an anchor, dragging him down into the depths of self-doubt. He thought about giving up. Maybe he just wasn't meant to succeed. As he sat in silence, an old man approached and sat beside him. He was frail but had a presence that demanded attention. His wrinkled hands rested on a cane, and his eyes held the wisdom of someone who had seen the world change. "You look like a man carrying the weight of the world," the old man said, his voice calm and knowing. Aiden sighed. "I feel like a failure. I've worked so hard, but no matter what I do, I just can't seem to make it." The old man smiled knowingly and leaned forward. "Let me tell you a story." Chapter 2. The Blacksmith's Apprentice. There was once a young man named Elias who dreamed of becoming the greatest blacksmith in the kingdom. He had no family, no money, and no experience, but he had determination. He found a master blacksmith and begged to be his apprentice. The master agreed but warned him, "This path will test you beyond your limits. Are you prepared for that?" Elias nodded eagerly, ready to face any challenge. His first task? Sweeping the shop. For months, he did nothing but clean. He watched as the master shaped metal, bending it into swords and armor, but he was never allowed to touch the tools. Frustrated, he asked, "When will I learn to forge?" The master only said, "Patience." A year passed, and finally, the master let Elias hold the hammer. But before he could craft a sword, he had to learn how to control fire. Days turned into weeks, and his arms ached from the intense heat of the forge. The work was grueling, the conditions unbearable, but Elias refused to quit. One day, exhausted and drenched in sweat, he snapped. "Why are you wasting my time? I came here to learn, not to be a servant." The master simply smiled. "Take this piece of iron and shape it into something beautiful." Elias, now confident, picked up the hammer. But as he struck the iron, it cracked. Again and again, he tried, but each time, the metal broke apart. Frustrated, he looked to his master. The master took a fresh piece of iron and placed it in the forge. As the flames roared, he explained, "The fire makes the metal stronger. Without heat, it remains brittle and weak. You are the same. Every challenge, every hardship you've endured, has been shaping you. Without patience, without struggle, you would break like that iron. But if you endure the fire, you will become unbreakable." Elias finally understood. He continued training, mastering his craft through years of discipline and hardship. When the time came, he forged the greatest sword the kingdom had ever seen, and his name became legend. Chapter 3. Rising from the ashes. The old man finished his story and looked at Aiden. "Do you understand what I'm telling you?" Aiden sat in silence, his mind turning. For years, he had seen his failures as proof that he wasn't good enough. But maybe they were shaping him, just like fire strengthens metal. Maybe he wasn't failing. Maybe he was growing. "Every great success story begins with failure," the old man continued. "The greatest architects, inventors, and leaders, none of them succeeded on their first try. But they kept going. They allowed their struggles to refine them rather than break them." Aiden clenched his fists. He had been looking at his journey all wrong. Every rejection, every disappointment, it was not the end but a test. A test of how much he truly wanted his dream. "Thank you," Aiden said, standing up with renewed determination. The old man nodded, smiling. "Remember, the fire will test you, but it will also make you stronger." That night, Aiden didn't drown in self-pity. He picked up his sketchbook, studied his old designs, and looked for ways to improve. Instead of seeing rejection as failure, he saw it as feedback, a challenge to grow. Weeks turned into months, and Aiden refined his skills. He sought mentorship, practiced relentlessly, and refused to give in to doubt. And then, one day, a letter arrived. "Congratulations. We are pleased to offer you a position as a junior architect." Tears filled his eyes as he held the letter close to his chest. He had done it. The fire had tested him, but it had not broken him. Final thoughts. Life will test you. You will face rejection, hardship, and moments where you want to quit. But remember, the strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. Every challenge you face is shaping you into something greater. So when you feel like giving up, remind yourself, this is just the fire making you stronger. Keep going. Your breakthrough is coming. Embrace the journey, ignite your passions, and join us as we explore the extraordinary together. Please like the video, and turn on notifications for future uploads. Happy Monday. Keep pushing forward. Rocket sparkles.